So now people are waking up this morning to a destroyed city. People work to clean it up, but you can still see broken windows and graffiti all around the city. But last night was different. It was quiet downtown. The city set a mandatory curfew that started at 8 p.m. last night. It's still in effect right now until 6 o'clock this morning. As of right now, it seems to be working. But this isn't the only update we have for you this morning. Our Matt McCutcheon and Meredith Juliet are bringing you team coverage this morning to get you caught up on what you might have missed while you were sleeping. We'll start with Meredith. And how are things where you are, Meredith?
Hey, Julia, I'm on Mass Ave right now. And as you said, overnight, nothing really happened here, at least that we can see. The damage that we are seeing is either people or businesses who preemptively boarded up ahead of the protest, or places like Stout's Footwear. They got hit pretty hard Saturday night going into Sunday morning. The majority of these front windows here were busted in. And I talked to the owner yesterday, just in passing. I was walking up and down Mass Ave yesterday afternoon, and he was outside. If you know Stout's Footwear on Mass Ave, you know they have that bird. The bird was inside at the time, Ripley, but Ripley is okay. And he said the shoes that were in the door, the shoes that were in the window displays, anyways, were actually all had to be scrapped because he said they were hit with glass and they weren't taken. Nothing was stolen, but those shoes would all have to be destroyed, and they're going to have to get the windows replaced. But then yesterday evening, it was a little bit of a different story. Tensions did escalate between police and protesters about 2 hours before the 8 p.m. curfew began. Groups began gathering on the circle to protest, and that's when police asked the crowds downtown to start dispersing. This was right around 6:30 yesterday evening. That's when they deployed the tear gas into the crowds. This was on several downtown streets right around the same time, happening on New York, Pennsylvania, and Capitol streets, all right downtown, close to Monument Circle, between here and Monument Circle, which I believe is where Matt McCutcheon is now, standing on Monument Circle. Matt, what are you seeing there? How are things?
Good morning to you. Downtown Indy Inc. estimates some 30,000 people live in downtown Indianapolis, and many people I've spoken with said they really described it as a, quote, war zone over the weekend. Behind me, you can see part of Circle Center Mall here that is boarded over. Part of that because of broken windows. Also part of that is because to protect businesses here in this area. Out here live, you can also see we have a lot of police presence here this morning. The good news is there are not any people in downtown Indianapolis. We've not really seen very many cars, but we do see a police presence, like you see right behind me, blocking this entrance here to the Circle Center Mall. All of this as part of a curfew that is in place. Information on your screen shows that violations of that curfew may explain why people are following it. It includes a Class B misdemeanor, a fine that could range from 180 days in jail to a $10,000 fine. This all comes as the chief of police issued a stern warning last night.
Those people who are downtown, I'm asking you, please go home. Go home for yourself. Go home for your family. Go home for your city. Go home for your cause. There's nothing you will prove tonight by violating this order. You're endangering yourself and our officers, and it isn't worth it. Know you're angry. You have good reason to be angry. You do not have good reason to be downtown.
Now, later today, we'll hear more about if this curfew will be issued again tomorrow. Again, we've got about an hour and a half left of this curfew. It's set to expire at 6 this morning, so we'll learn more about future plans for this, also the number of arrests, as we do expect an update here later this morning from the police chief and the mayor. Of course, we'll be following this developing story throughout the day here on 13 News.
All right, Matt, thank you. We'll continue to follow this breaking news, as Matt mentioned, continuing to look at the cleanup and the damage from over the weekend. But, Ben, as we've seen, it's pretty quiet in downtown right now.